Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the fourth and final video in June's weekly card class. Thank you to everyone who has joined me for this class over the last 4 weeks. It's been great to share lots of different ideas using the Adventure Together stamp set. So let's have a little recap. For the last 4 weeks, these are the designs that I have been sharing with you. So the Adventure Together stamp set looks like this for those of you that are joining for the first time. And it's predominantly an outline drawn image stamp set, and it's got two lovely sort of deep solid tree images and then a few little sentiments. So week one looked like this. Week number one, we used predominantly just the stamped images. I showed you some techniques to colour the images and then added in some of the dies. Week number two, I showed how to make a sort of a layered forest look using that tree image, and I've added in the party alphabet dies there with a simple sentiment. Week number three, last week, I showed you how to make your camper van or truck move, keeping with that layering technique with the trees. And then week number four is this card here. I couldn't not create a scenery style card, and this one is a great design. It's quite a traditional fun fold style card. It does fold flat and it is the same size as a standard C6 card here in the United Kingdom, and it's just a lot of fun. We're sort of bringing everything that we've learned over the last 4 weeks together for this card design. It makes a great display card, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you're following along at home, you will need your final kit, week number 4. And in week number 4, you have a card base that's cut from thick basic white card, and it's all been scored for you. And this is what we're going to use to create the frame. You have a piece of white card with a notch across it. That is for your stamping. You have 2 layers of white card. One is for the inner layer and one is for the back panel, just so that you have an area to write your message. You have a piece of 2-tone cardstock. This is garden green 2-tone cardstock, and yours may be separate already, but it just pulls apart. This has been cut with the layering, the edge die in the set. So you have something that looks like that, 2 pieces, and then you have 2 pieces of smoky slate card, and that is for the 2 end panels. Okay, so let's start by building the frame of this card, shall we? So putting all my pieces to one side, you want to have your piece of card so that it's lengthways, and you're going to start by folding in that middle section on the right hand side. You've got a nice firm crease with your bone folder, and then you're going to fold this end panel back onto itself. And this is so that our creases are going in the right direction. So you end up with something that looks like that. And then you're going to repeat the same process on the other side. I'm just going to turn mine around. I'm right-handed, and it just makes sense for it to be over here on the right. So fold that back. Like so. So give them a really nice crease. With all fun fold cards, the best advice I can give you is to make sure that your crease line, your score lines are really well creased. Okay. What you can do next is you can add your end panels. This is smoky slate cardstock, and I just wanted something quite neutral, which is why I opted for smoky slate. It's a really inoffensive, plain colour. It's almost kind of one of our basic colours, I would say. Smoky slate is such an undervalued colour. So pop your end panels on both ends. Like so. Okay. And then you've got your 2 white pieces, your 2 white pieces that are the same size. So one of them is going to be for the back of the card, and this is what you're going to write your message on. So just to bring out a little bit of detail on this, I'm just drawing a black line around the inner white edge. And then I'm going to cut that out. Not cut that out, I'm going to stick that on. And that's just going to sit on that panel. Perfect. Okay, so that is our back panel. So that's the frame of our card built, and we can move on and we can work on this panel here. So what you're going to need now is you're going to need your 2 tree images. So I've got both the big one and the little one. And you're going to need 2 blending brushes. You're going to need one that is being used with blue ink and one that's been used with green ink. Okay. And I'm going to stamp with Old Olive ink to start. So in a similar way that we've done with the last 2 cards, ink up my stamp. And I'm going to stamp my tree. Now, what you need to be mindful of is you need to be mindful of this area here. You want to be able to see your trees. You don't want to stamp them too low. Okay. I'm just going to stamp a few of these all the way across. I think you can get 4 across here. My ink pad is in desperate need of re-inking. So I have my 4 tall trees there. And instead of keep stamping with the same tree, I'm going to use the smaller tree. I haven't really used the smaller tree much so far. Like so. So we've got our row of trees all stamped. Try closing the ink pad the right way. Once you've done that, you're going to take your blue blending brush, and if you've got any residue ink on there, just go across with that. Okay. If you don't have residue ink, just use Pool Party. Pool Party is always my sky colour of choice. Okay. And when with your green one, do the same along the bottom. There we go. So that's given me a nice little scene, a little background scene. And whilst we're here, I'm going to stamp my sentiment, "Let the adventure begin," in the top right hand corner. And I'm using Memento ink for that. So just this ink pad. So that is my background area all complete. I'm just going to clean my glass mat. That's it. And then this piece is going to settle in the back of your card like so. Okay. So you can attach that straight away. So once you've got that far, the next thing you can do is think about using these 2 pieces. So these 2 pieces, 2-tone cardstock is just that. It is the same colour, but it's different tones. So you've got a light tone and a dark tone of the colour. So you can either have them so that they are different colours showing. You can use the light side, or you can use the dark side. Okay, it's entirely up to you. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to, this is where you need to be a bit clever, and I'm not very clever, no I am. So you want the bottom piece to sit down there like so. But the second piece that you have, you want to just raise it ever so slightly there. And I'll show you an easy way to attach this in a minute, so that you've just got a little bit of height. So I'm just going to practice with mine to make sure I'm happy with it. Yeah, that's fine. I might actually use this light side though. This light side is calling me at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this background, the thicker piece first. You don't need a huge amount of glue. The important part when you're doing this is just patience. So you're going to hold that in place. Or just make sure it's well stuck. And then add your glue here, there. And then you're going to fold that bit down and make that bit flat. And that's how you know it's straight and it's not going to bow, okay, because it lines up flush with this right edge and it's now flush with that edge. So when you open your card, you now have a complete straight line, okay? And then just do the same with the second piece. Quite like the two-tone. Let's use the two-tone, shall we? So with the two-tone, you want to put this down here. I'm just repeating the same process that I used on that first piece. I'm sticking it over here on the left panel, making sure that it's flush with the edge and the bottom. Adding my glue this side, holding it down and making sure it's flush this end. Okay. And this die, all I've done, I've used the edge die with the die set to just cut a nice long piece. So that's your grass all done. So once you've got to that stage, we can now move on and do some stamping. So stamping wise, I'm going to stamp 2 big trees and 1 small tree, the truck and the chair. So I'm stamping with Old Olive. I really do need to re-ink this pink pad. Let's see if I've got an Old Olive re-inker to hand. No, it's Garden Green. Do you know what? Let's just go with Old Olive. I will re-ink this afterwards. So I've got the 2 trees, 2 tall trees, 1 small tree, and then in the memento, I'm going to set up the truck and the chair. Okay, truck, chair, 2 tall trees, 1 small tree, and now let's colour it in. So for my truck, I'm going to be using Smoky Slate. So I'm pulling in that Smoky Slate that's on the edge panels there. This blend has been used in a class. I'm not getting great results. Let's just use the smaller end. I hope you enjoyed colouring this truck over the last few weeks. It's definitely one that I enjoy colouring in. I saw a great card the other day by, I can't remember the lady's name, but her business name is Nice People Stamp. And she's made some beautiful cards with this set, so do check her out. You can find her on Instagram. She's probably on Facebook. Instagram seems to be where I do most of my social media stalking these days. Then using the dark blend to add a bit more detail. I'm just going to see if I've got another light Smoky Slate blend. So I have 4 dark Smoky Slate blends. I have 1 light. Something's gone astray there. had some granny apple green for the greenery on the box there. And then I'm going to use Lost Lagoon for my features. Whilst I've got the Lost Lagoon one, I'm also going to colour in my chair. Okay, let's use the dark to add some shadow. There we go. And then I want dark for the wheels. Dark. Oh, black for the wheels. And then this is ready for me to cut out. So let's use the die. So I've got Adventure Together die. I want this one. And this one. And I want this one. And let's just run that through the die machine next to me. I still want the chair. What about the chair? The chair die is quite nice because it does actually cut the gaps out between the legs. Oh, my chair die moved. I need to redo that. And then let's do the trees while we are here. It's very windy out there today. It's quite nice at this time of year because I can craft during the day and in the evening with the door open. Which always feels like a bit of a treat. Although I must admit, because I'm in the bottom of the garden, come the afternoon, it is roasting in here. Just heats up. So it's just low tack tape that I can use. You can also use Stampin' Up masking paper, a post-it note, washi tape, anything that's not going to damage your images. Yeah. And then let's cut this one out. No. Oh, I've got a little visitor. The dog's come to inspect while I'm in here with the door open. Okay, so there are my trees. Let's redo that there. And I'll use some tape to stick that down this time. Just a little deck chair. and you were the deck chair die, where would you have been? Had you literally moments ago. Here it is. Sometimes I feel like I could lose things so quickly on my desk. I think there's little elves in here that move things whilst I'm using them. Let's put the die back over there in my pot. That one can go in my pot. That one there. All my dies are in my pot. Okay, so what we can do now is we can assemble our card together. So this is where we're going to use some foam pads to do this. I'm going to add my foam pads to the truck first of all. I want my truck to be about there. Okay. And then my little tree I can attach behind, although I may use a big tree this side. Let's use a big tree this side. And just attach that underneath, like so. And then this side we're going to do a big tree and a little tree. And get the big tree there. And then the small tree, I'm actually going to put my dimensional on the card. There. And then my little chair can go there. So again, I'm going to put my dimensional on the card. And that's it. That's my scenic card all finished. I hope you enjoyed putting that one together. That's it, guys. That's my final card design of the month of June. I hope you really enjoyed making these cards and that you'll continue to use your stamp set and be inspired by the designs that I've made. Do check this stamp out on Pinterest. On Pinterest, just type in Stampin' Up Adventure Together and you'll get lots more inspiration. And as always, if you are on social media, feel free to share the cards back with me by just tagging me using Stampin' with Stacey Marsh. So I'll leave you all there. Have a great rest of your Thursday or whatever day you're watching on. And I will see you all next week, 2 p.m. on Thursday for the start of our Coneflower celebration class. See you all then. Bye for now.